So by now you know from the title of this video, I am pregnant again. We are expecting our third baby and I'm so excited to share this with you. I feel like I am always hiding something when I don't share that I'm pregnant for kind of a while. I am about 17 weeks along right now as I'm filming this and as you're seeing this. So I have a lot to catch you up on, including finding out that I was pregnant, we know the gender, and all of the details in between. So let's get into it. For those of you that are new here, my name is Sophie from Sophisticated Organization. I love sharing all things organizing, but also I am a mom and that's a huge part of my life, so I love sharing that side of my life as well. I have two boys right now. I have a 3-year-old, so like 3.5-year-old. His name is Owen, and I have a almost 1.5-year-old. His name is Henry, and I am pregnant with baby number 3. Now, it wasn't necessarily planned for us to get pregnant right now. We definitely wanted more than 2 kids. So we were just kind of letting it happen as it happened, and it happened. I am pregnant and I am due at the beginning of September. So both of our boys have December birthdays. So we're gonna have 3 kids under the age of 4, which is going to be wild. So it's a little bit quick, I feel like, to have this age gap be even less than 2 years, because our last age gap was pretty much exactly 2 years. And I'm not gonna lie, that was difficult. So now having 2 kids plus a slightly smaller age gap, I'm a little bit nervous about that. But I also feel really confident in the fact that I'm a 3rd-time mom, or going to be a 3rd-time mom. The newborn stage doesn't really faze me. I've been through a lot before, and I know I'm gonna go through things I've never gone through before. Each kid is unique and different, but I feel like I have the confidence to tackle whatever happens in the newborn stage. It's just the 3 kids that's kind of overwhelming, and 3 kids that are all extremely young and all really need parents and adult help. Okay, so let's talk about how I found out that I got pregnant. So if you followed my journey at all with kids, or you remember this, when I got pregnant with Henry, our second, I never had my cycle return after our first. I was breastfeeding. We made it to the year mark. I stopped breastfeeding and my cycle just never returned. So I went to the OB to talk about trying to get it back so we could have another kid. Come to find out, I was actually pregnant already when I went to that appointment. And I'm telling you, I had taken a pregnancy test like not that long before I went to go see the doctor to have this conversation, but they like prescribed me medications to get things going again. I got home, they said just take a pregnancy test before you start the meds. I took one and lo and behold, it was positive. So I was absolutely shocked that time. This time around, I was kind of trying to track ovulation with ovulation like test strips, even though I didn't have a cycle. And I did see a spike in my ovulation. So I figured after that, like in 2 weeks, the cycle was gonna return or I was gonna be pregnant. So I kind of knew when to take a pregnancy test. I took a few pregnancy tests. They were negative. I took one on Christmas Day morning and I felt like maybe, just maybe, there was like the smallest shadow of something, but I wasn't really sure. Christmas Eve, I didn't think anything. So I did have like half a glass of wine probably. I honestly really don't drink that much ever, and when I do, I don't even drink like a full drink, so it wasn't a huge concern. But Christmas Day, I felt like, again, just maybe I saw something, so I was cautious and just didn't drink anything at Christmas. And then when I got home, I just had this feeling, which I didn't have with Henry. Obviously, I was blindsided that I was pregnant. With Owen, it was super strange. I woke up in the middle of the night and took a pregnancy test. Like I just had this weird feeling that I was pregnant. I took a pregnancy test at 3 o'clock in the morning. This time around, I was like, I need to test again. I know I just did this morning, but I have to test again. I took one and it was still very faint, but there was a second line. So I could not contain myself. I had to tell Jim immediately. And it's so funny because the test was so faint. I'll show you the clip of me trying to tell Jim, but he literally did not even believe that I was pregnant and thought it was a negative pregnancy test. So here's him looking at that negative test.
What is that?
Not pregnant.
pregnant.
What?
He was not convinced, even though I was so certain. Like, a line is a line when it comes to pregnancy. And I was telling him, I've been through this before and I know a line is a line. So believe me, I'm pregnant. So the next morning I took a test and he actually then could really see it then. So he believed it, but I went to get some blood work done to confirm. And there's two reasons that I did that. I feel like typically you don't do that in pregnancy. You just call them and you let them know when your last period was, and then they schedule you out for maybe like 8 weeks or so. But since I didn't have a missed period to go off of, they needed to figure out how far along I was. And I did have a miscarriage with my first pregnancy. So I have a history of miscarriage and it was a possible ectopic pregnancy. So with that, they really want to make sure that the HCG, pregnancy hormone, is rising appropriately, because if it's not, they just again, really want to make sure it's a healthy pregnancy and get you in quickly for an ultrasound to make sure it's located in the right spot in your uterus and not ectopic, and you're not gonna lose a fallopian tube or something like that. So I went in for my first blood test and I have a clip from that to show you too. Okay, so I just finished up blood draw number 2. I also just got the results back from the first blood draw, and the first blood draw, if anybody's like numbers driven or focused, was 37 for my HCG level. They said that my progesterone was 20. I can try sharing like a chart of what different HCG levels are by week, but it varies so much that it's really hard to tell. But I think HCG should double every 48 hours. Like every 2 days, the number should double. So I got the first one done on Friday. Today is Monday. So it should have doubled by Sunday. And then today, I don't know, it doesn't double again and it doesn't quite like go in half. But it should have at least doubled by this point. And so if it doubles, my numbers, I think, should at least put me at 4 weeks or more. But it's really hard to tell within there. It is definitely on the low side, but I know when I first found out I was pregnant with Henry that my HCG, the first draw, was 58, which is also pretty low. So it seems positive that the progesterone looked good and that obviously it's confirming that I'm pregnant, but I think I'll know more once I have this second blood draw results back. But it was really funny because I had the first blood draw, there was somebody who was training who did it and it didn't hurt at all, and their supervisor was there. And today I had the supervisor doing it and my arm hurts so bad. It's like pulsating right now, and I'm totally fine with needles, but the blood draw itself going in hurt, and now it hurts really bad after. So I am going to head home and I guess just patiently wait for the results. When I got the results for my second blood test, we were actually on the way to California to go see my family. And the results for my HCG for the second round was 311, which is really great. It more than doubled. That's what we wanted to see. So it looked like things were going well. And I really wanted to keep this pregnancy to myself for a little bit longer, but being with my family, and we went there for New Year's Eve, I just knew like I had to tell my parents. And it's so funny because my brother and sister-in-law, they are also expecting a third baby, and they were there as well and had gotten there, I don't know, maybe a week or so before we did. And they told the whole family that they were expecting. So I felt like I should just kind of tack on and tell them too, and I could bond with my sister-in-law about being pregnant together. So I brought 2 pregnancy tests. I put them into little gift bags because it was still during Hanukkah. My family's Jewish, and I thought I would present it to them like, hey, I have a Hanukkah gift for you, and have them open up the pregnancy tests. But the funniest thing was I was going to do it that night that we got there, but in the afternoon I was hanging out with my brother and sister-in-law saying, congratulations, we're so excited for you. And they just out of the blue were like, are you pregnant too? I was like, why do you think that? But I just decided to tell them right away. So I told them before I was able to tell my parents and grandparents I wanted to do it all together. So they knew, and my brother actually filmed telling my grandma and my mom, which was really funny. You are.
I know she is. Cheers.
I thought she missed you.
Cheers. Hi.
Oh my God.
Cheers. Oh, no.
So you're not drinking with me?
When I got back from vacation, I went into the OB for my first ultrasound on the 9th of January. So at that point, I was 5 weeks and 5 days. I did not know that I was 5 weeks and 5 days at that point. But we went for an ultrasound, and I have, like I said, been through this before when I haven't had a period to go off of. So it's actually happened with all 3 of my successful pregnancies that I have gone in for a first ultrasound and have not heard a heartbeat, which is such a scary feeling. But honestly, I know that not hearing a heartbeat at the beginning can be normal, especially if you're really early along. 5 weeks and 5 days just is not that far along. So we saw a gestational sac, we saw a yolk sac, but no fetal pole, which is like the baby. So of course we couldn't see a heartbeat, and they couldn't really measure how far along I was. So they had me wait and come back, and I came back on the 22nd of January, which ended up being 7 weeks and 4 days. That was how they dated my pregnancy. That's how they picked my due date, was from that ultrasound. They heard a heartbeat. Jim was there. It was just really exciting and such a relief. Having a pregnancy after miscarriage is just really scary every single time. It doesn't matter that I've had successful pregnancies since my miscarriage. I just have that fear constantly that something's wrong. And in early pregnancy, when you can't feel movement yet, you're just kind of sitting there hoping and assuming that things are okay, but you never really know. So that felt really good to hear a heartbeat. And like I said, now I am 17 weeks. So we've made it into the second trimester. I've been feeling pretty good. I definitely dealt with a lot of nausea with the first trimester. Never threw up, but I had a lot of nausea. And we did opt to do the blood test at like 12-ish weeks, so we could find out gender early. If you know me or you followed me, I am sophisticated organization. So obviously I'm a planner. I felt like I needed to know gender the second I could, just because I need to visualize things. I want to pick a name. We still have not picked a name yet, but I want to pick a name. I want to know like how the rooms are going to work. Are we going to be able to pass down all the boys' clothing, or do we need new clothing? Do we want to redecorate the nursery, or is it going to stay? All of those things. So the way we found out gender was again through the blood test, but I got a phone call after the blood test that the results were posted, and that luckily all of the genetic stuff looked really good, but the gender results were available online, or I could go pick up an envelope if I wanted to do a gender reveal party of some sort. So I said thank you and hung up. But Jim was out of town. He left for like 5 or 6 days, and that was the day he left that I found out it was posted. And I called him and I was like, I cannot sit on this for a week. I can't, knowing that I could just click a button and see what the gender is, I cannot wait. We talked about it back and forth, and he was like, you know, I really want to be there with you when we find out. And we thought about FaceTiming, but he was with his dad and he didn't want his dad to know what the gender was. So he was like, okay, let's just do a phone call. Let's find out together over the phone. Like, he wanted to find out too. And then we decided to do a little bit of a gender reveal with our parents on FaceTime, which is what we did for the other 2 kids. Got a cupcake and we cut into it and revealed to them over FaceTime, and we actually had Owen cut into the cupcake, which was really fun. That's his second time doing it. We explained to him what the different colors mean. So I looked at the portal on my phone while we were talking so I could find out. So when we cut into the cupcake, we already knew what the gender was, but we were surprising the rest of the family. So I'm gonna show you the gender reveal right now.
All right, take your bets.
Guessing before you got on, so we'll share.
Okay.
I think it's a boy.
Okay.
I think it's a girl.
Okay.
I think it's a boy.
And I think it's a girl.
Okay,
these
so we
guys
got
are the same page.
even split. Okay.
Well, what do you think? What do you think the baby's
Yeah, what do you
gonna
think,
be?
Owen?
I think it's gonna be a girl.
Do you think it's
You
a
think a
boy
girl?
or girl?
He just said a girl.
You think it's gonna be a girl?
Everyone, cut straight down. Ready?
It's okay.
1, 2, 3, cut. Okay, then show everyone what color's inside.
Pink. What? Pink. It's a girl, Mommy. Mom,
It's a girl.
it's a girl. I told you it's a girl.
a sister?
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
And when you say shocked that it was a girl?
Shocked.
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 Yeah, yeah, I know. You were very firm.
I was 100% convinced.
Yeah.
I knew it was a boy too. I just knew it was a boy.
That's what I knew.
Do another bite?
So you guys think about names. Tell us when you're thinking about names.
Haven't discussed.
We haven't even said a single word
Haven't
about it.
done anything?
No.
I mean, Mom, no way in my mind did I ever think it was a girl. Like,
Oh my god.
Oh, that's. Hey, Owen, what do you want your baby sister to be named?
Yeah, what are you gonna name your baby sister now? Do you have any names that you like?
are you excited it's a sister? Yeah?
Excited at the cupcake.
We like the cupcake.
And which color cupcake next week?
Yeah, right? Let's keep it at just this one at a time.
Yeah.
So it's a girl. We are so excited. I love the birth order that we have. It's so fun that we have 2 older brothers and a younger sister. I just think that's a really cute dynamic and should be great as they grow older too. It's so funny because I've always wanted to have a girl, and I don't want to say I had like gender disappointment with the boys, but I always just wanted one daughter. I loved the idea of having a mix of both boys and girls. Just as long as I had one of each, that was kind of like my dream. And it's so funny because again, I thought I would be like such a girl mom, but now after having 2 boys, I'm slightly nervous about having a girl just because girls are different than boys. And I don't know all of the different nuances of having a girl, but I'm so excited to find out. Definitely excited to get all of the pink things, maybe do a little nursery redecoration. So as you can expect, there'll be lots more going on here and on Instagram. I have been kind of quiet recently just because I am showing a lot more than I was with my other pregnancies at this point, and it was really hard to film videos. I just felt like I couldn't be super authentic, and I was definitely tired and exhausted with early pregnancy, and I'm feeling like I'm coming out of it. So I am back and can't wait to share more with you. I hope you're as excited as we are to have baby number 3 and stick around for the rest of the journey.